შეცვლა ონლაინ გადასვლა უფრო მარტივია.
ნატალია შემოგვიერთდება უკვე. ერთი გაზიარებას თუ შეიძლება და დავტესტავ.
კი.
Chance from?
Chance.
კი ბატონო.
Veronica, we will start shortly. We will wait a minute or two to join the others to join us, and we will start shortly. Marita is already here. You already know the reason why we shift to online platform. So in this case,
I'm sorry to hear. Yeah.
How is things in Bratislava? Is going up the number of cases, or?
Well, to be honest, I do not really follow it, and the media do not report it as often as they did. So yeah, I heard some news. There is slightly increase, but not very dramatic. And also people are not going to doctors and testing because it's not that as it was in previous waves. But we will see in September.
Yeah.
So before we start our session, I would like to inform you that on 28th of July, we're having our closing event of the project. This event will take place at Courtyard Tbilisi Marriott, and all of you are invited. We will send out invitations very shortly today or tomorrow. All of you will get the invitations, but beforehand, I would like to inform all of you, all the participants of today's meeting and the previous meetings as well, that you are very welcome to join us at the closing event. Natalia will be one of the speakers. So Natalia and Marita will be one of speakers among the others. So I'm really happy to have this opportunity to see all of you. Hope in face that all these challenges will be overcome that we are facing today. So please note that that you are invited, and we are looking
it's
forward
already
to
decided that it should be on 28th of July, yeah? It's already decided.
Yes, actually
unfortunately, I will not be able to attend because I'll be in the room in that time, so.
Yes, I know, so you probably will be on a much better place, more attractive than the ours, but that's would be really pity that you won't be able to join us. But unfortunately, we could not change the date, but
of course. I think we can start, Eka, because in the introduction speech, me and Margalita have the introduction, and then I'll continue with my presentation. So, Marita, you can open the floor, I think.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Georgi. I think we can start, yeah, because then we have, as I know, in 1 hour, probably more, 1 and 30 minutes, yeah. Also here will be in 2 very important presentation. Okay, good afternoon, and colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, thank you so much for today's meeting. Thank you to Levan Mikeladzes Foundation and Research Center of the Slovak Foreign Policy Association, as well as in Slovak Agency and Friedrich Ebert Foundation for the opportunity to have such an important and insightful projects and regarding the energy security, which is a crucial aspect of the Georgian energy reforms due to various factors more attention is required for its strengthening. Now, as this subject is even and more crucial with the ongoing war in the Ukraine and uncertainties about the energy supply on global markets. Regarding to the project, we had very fruitful meetings and through in last year. Energy security and matters of the Green Deal are topics of interest of the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, which is a key and policy makers of the energy sector. As a contracting and party of the energy community, and Georgia has to prepare and submit its long-term strategy until 2030, which has perspective till 2040 and 2050. The preparation of the energy and climate integrated action plan is almost finalized. The plan and will set the targets for 2030 for the energy efficiency, renewable energy and greenhouse gas emissions reduction. The plan including 5 dimensions such as energy security and decarbonization, energy efficiency, internal energy market, and research, innovation, and competitiveness. Also, we have already drafted our national energy policy, which is slowing the key priorities for the energy sector, and of course, the energy security and decarbonization is one of the most important ones. As I know, and today, and Natalia and Georgi have a presentation prepared that's very interesting and analysis and regarding the European Green Deal and energy security. Georgi, it's right, a Green Deal and energy security, both, and we'll prepare them from your sides. At the same time, and Veronica and our colleagues from Slovakia will have a presentation of the impact of the European and Green Deal of the energy security in Slovakia, which is a really interesting and for us to know what are the impact of Green Deal on Slovakia. So it will be a practical to hear and their experience in direction, as well as some practical examples and advantages and challenges. It's very important and for Georgia. Once again, I would like to thank you, the Research Center of Slovakia Foreign Policy Association, Levan Mikteladze Foundation, as well as the Slovakia Friedrich Ebert and Foundation for the support us. This is very important and new area. I'm sure today's meeting will be very fruitful, and also in our cooperation and will continue. And we will have a chance to exchange information and to exchange practical information in the energy security field and also in the Green Deal. Thank you again. I think and today's presentation will be very interesting for us, and will be a very a lot of questions and comments about this this project. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending our workshop on a very interesting topic on the Green Deal and European Green Deal and its impact on energy security to Georgia and Slovakia's energy security. So why we choose this topic? Because Green Deal is a very complex initiative. It's a new strategy of the European Union for the long-term perspective, and it has a wide range of impact on different sectors, including energy and especially the energy security. So we decided to analyze the impact of general analysis, to make a general analysis of the impact of Green Deal to energy security of those two countries. I'll not talk much in the introduction, and because I have to continue with my presentation, and just I'll share you the screen. Can you see it? Good. So our topic is the European Green Deal and energy security for Georgia and its impact to Georgia's energy security. Why? Briefly about the European Green Deal, which was adopted in proposed by the European Commission in 2019, and its aims to make European continent and climate neutral by 2050. Economic growth decoupled from the resource use, and no person, no businesses and places left behind. There are 5 pillars of the European Green Agenda, which include the climate action, decarbonization, circular economy, biodiversity, depollution, sustainable food systems, and rural areas. In these 5 directions, European Commission and European Green Deal provides strategies, legislative initiatives, and so on. So the digitalization will be the key enabler of these 5 pillars of the European Green Deal. The European Green Deal reviews more than 50 European laws, regulations, and directives in energy sector, and redesign public policies which will affect to the energy security as well. On 14th of July 2021, the European Commission presented those Fit for 55 package, which includes just upgrading and reviewing existing energy and climate regulations and directives. Transposition of this legislation into national legislation is not mandatory yet for Georgia. However, EU-Georgia Association Agreement and the membership of Georgia to Energy Community creates a framework for further harmonization of our legislation and just to develop our institutional framework as well according to this. And one of the examples which was Marita already mentioned is the NECP, National Energy and Climate Plan, which is really complex and includes one of the topic, energy security, is an umbrella direction of the energy policy. As for the energy security, according to the draft policy, energy policy of Georgia, the main objective of energy security is to ensure adequate and reliable supply of different types of high quality energy to all consumers at an affordable price while protecting the interest of national security and sustainable development in the short, medium, long-term perspective. So based on this definition, the key principles of the energy security stand out to be an availability of energy, accessibility, physical accessibility to energy resources, reliability and quality of energy, affordability to households and commercial sector of energy, and flexibility of energy systems. And finally, the sustainability, which is really a matter for the Green Deal. So we assessed the impact of the Green Deal strategies, initiatives to the energy security with high, medium, and low impact, positive or negative, to at the national level. So let's start with the communication, which is really an umbrella proposal from the Commission, from the European Commission to the Council for the adoption, which was followed by with different laws and regulations and directives. The communication, general aim of the communication is the efficient use of the resources by moving to a clean circular economy and stop climate change, revert biodiversity loss, and cut pollution. As for the energy security specific aims, it includes the supply clean, affordable, and secure energy, building and renovating in an energy and resource efficient way, and accelerating the shift to sustainable and smart mobility. Based on that, we have assessed the impact to those 6 principles of energy security, which I have already mentioned, starting with availability. The communication stressed and outlines energy efficiency as a first principle, because it provides synergies to other directions as well. So the availability of energy resources, because of the supporting and enhancing energy efficiency measures, has a high positive impact on energy security, because it increases availability of energy, and it's one of the source of energy considered in the European Union. As for the reliability, it has also a positive high impact since it increases reliability with better management of supply and consumption. As for the affordability in the long-term perspective, it affects also the end user costs, not the prices, but the costs in total. So as for the flexibility, it has also a high positive impact, increases flexibility of energy systems with better management of demand and leaving more capacity to supply side. As for the sustainability, it's a more, it's most sustainable source of energy than other sources of energy, because that's why European Union and energy community and so on, considering energy efficiency as first measure for energy policy planning. But the second aim of the communication of the Green Deal has renewable sources, just supporting renewable sources, including offshore, decarbonized gas, sustainable alternative transport fuels, and so on, which affects availability and accessibility positively. As for the reliability and quality, it sometimes have negative impact due to the intermittency of renewable energy sources. And in our case, in Georgian case as well, we have those challenges. We can't integrate so much wind and solar energy in our system because of the intermittency and difficulty of dispatching the system. If we will not develop other supporting measures to just manage those intermittencies in the system. As for the affordability, it has a positive impact and we have very good experience in net metering program because it creates somehow for the households some income if they produce excess electricity. As for the flexibility, it depends on the system, and if there is a sufficient amount of reserve capacity, then it's good for to develop additional renewable energy sources. As for the sustainability, it's a positive high. Integrated, interconnected, and digitalized energy market is one of the aim of the communication, and it affects positively the availability and accessibility, also the reliability, because it has a negative impact on case of low level of cybersecurity, because digitalization of the electricity energy systems has a very efficient is a very efficient measure, and it decreases losses and increases flexibility. However, if the country have no high level cybersecurity, then it's vulnerable of this system to the external threats. And everyone knows that our neighbor Russia is using comprehensively this tool against neighboring countries, and not only neighboring countries. As for the affordability, flexibility, and sustainability, this digitalization will have a positive impact. The next aim of the communication is a smart energy infrastructure, including smart grids, hydrogen networks, carbon capture and storage and utilization, energy storage facilities, which has mostly the positive impact to the flexibility and reliability for the energy security, from the energy security point of view. As for the other aims, like fighting energy poverty, which is one of the key goal of the Green Deal communication, it has a positive impact on accessibility, reliability, affordability, and sustainability, because it creates somehow the measures to support the households, especially the poor households, and redesign their subsidy schemes for the vulnerable customers. And I'll also talk about at the end of this slide where we have these ending fossil fuel subsidies, which will have an in the short term negative impact on the affordability for households, because the prices will increase in that cases on the fossil fuels. And however, in the long term, it enhance and create additional accessibility to renewable energy sources. So it has positive and negative impact in the short and long-term perspective. As for the renovation of the buildings, which is one of the key aim of the communication, it will have an the positive impact on availability, accessibility, and reliability, and also affordability. Renovating lowers energy bills and can reduce energy poverty. Therefore, it reduces also costs for households in the mid and long-term perspective. As for the next aim of the Green Deal is a sustainable transport means, multimodal transport, affordable accessibility, healthier and cleaner alternatives, automated and connected multimodal mobility, stringent air pollutant emission standards for combustion energy vehicles, engine vehicles. So it will have a positive impact on the availability because there will be more options, especially the efficient cars in the future. As for the accessibility and reliability, it will have an also positive effect. However, on the affordability point of view, it depends on the transport mode and prices of the transport. And one of the key measure which is included in the Green Deal communication and also in the Repower Europe, which was adopted last year in the fall. It stresses that the prices on energy should increase in order to enhance the energy efficiency and renewables energy in the European Union. So from affordability point of view, it has a controversial impact. As for the flexibility and sustainability, definitely have the positive impact because it if properly use car batteries in the energy system, it increases the flexibility of the system. As for the sustainability, from inland freight to rail, healthier and cleaner transport alternatives will definitely increase the sustainability of the system. As the next proposal under the Green Deal is creating the EU taxonomy, which would provide companies, investors, and policymakers with appropriate definitions for which economic activities can be considered environmentally sustainable. And the taxonomy regulation supports development of energy efficient, renewable, clean, and sustainable energy alternatives and scaling up the investment there. And also Georgia have already started, and especially the National Bank of Georgia have developed the taxonomy for the financial sector in Georgia, just to identify which are the sustainable, environmentally friendly activities to be subsidized, to be invested, and to be given low interest loans for them. In this case, it will definitely have a positive impact, all of these dimensions of energy security. As for the reliability and quality, depends on the energy system. I have already mentioned in case of the renewable energy development. Affordability, definitely it has a positive impact. Low interest rate loans will be available for not only the residential customers, but also the commercial businesses as well. Repower, I have already mentioned, this is a new initiative which strengthens the effort of European countries, European Union countries, to increase their targets by 2030 and by 2050 to save energy, diversify their supply sources, quickly substitute fossil fuels by accelerating Europe's clean energy transition, and smartly combine investment and reforms. This initiative was strengthened. This is a new one after the Ukraine-Russian war, because the European Union decided already to significantly reduce its dependence on Russian fossil fuel, oil and gas by 2027. That's why they need more stringent measures, and in case of diversified supply sources and lower dependence on Russian energy, it will impact positively on availability of resources. More options will be available in that case, because United States and other countries are already supplying European Union fossil fuels. As for the reliability and quality, it will have a positive impact also, because it's somehow enhancing energy efficiency and renewable energy resources. Affordability point of view, it will have a negative impact in the short term. Prices will increase, and already has increased in European countries, and there are some protests in different countries, but the understanding that the dependence on Russia is more risky in the short and long-term perspective. So as for the sustainability, it will have positive impact because more focus will be on energy efficiency and renewable. The next initiative, which is the strategy, strategy on adaptation to climate change, which is really matter for energy security point of view. The strategy aims to realize the 2050 vision of climate resilient union by making adaptation smarter, more systemic, swifter, and by stepping up international action. The NECP and National Adaptation Plan, which are required for countries to develop, it's also mandatory for Georgia as well. However, we have not yet drafted the National Adaptation Plan for Georgia, and there is an ongoing negotiations with international financial institutions and funds on developing this plan. So it will definitely affect positively to energy security in each dimension of the security, availability, accessibility, reliability, and quality, and also sustainability. However, it will have in a short-term period negative impact on the affordability, on the prices, because in the short term adaptation measures, developing adaptation measures increases prices, and it will cause in the short term some affordability issues. The next strategy under the European Green Deal is a Digital Europe program, which underlines the cybersecurity and technological development of the not only the energy sector, but also industries, other industries as well. So from energy security point of view, it intends to develop digital identities, cryptography, and intrusion detection, which are main sources of cyber attacks for critical energy infrastructure. That's why it will positively impact on the reliability and quality of energy systems, and flexibility, increase of flexibility, because digitalization have a very positive impact on the flexibility of the system to deal with the short, mid, and long-term challenges in the system. And also it will have a sustainability positive impact on the sustainability principle of energy security. let's continue with the European Climate Law, which is somehow creates a legally binding environment for European countries to achieve the targets set in the communication by 2030 and by 2050. So increasing increasing the effort of energy European Union in terms of to achieve the set targets under the communication will definitely have a positive impact on availability, accessibility, and reliability, and all these 6 principles of the energy security, which have identified as energy security principles. And it's more widely and more in-depth analysis are will be provided in the report published after this meeting at the end of this month. The methane strategy, which is one of the key dimension and strategic priority under the Green Deal, it stresses not only the decrease of CO2 emissions, but also the methane emissions. And in energy sector, we have mainly the methane emissions from the losses in transmission and distribution systems, fugitive emissions in gas distribution systems. So methane strategy intends to increase the effort and technological development of this sector to decrease the methane emissions in the atmosphere. So it will affect availability, affordability, and sustainability in a positive way. And availability because it will decrease the losses in the system, and more energy and more products will be accessible by available for the countries. And the European Climate Pact, which aims in 2020, the European Commission has launched this pact. It aims to engage with different stakeholders in civil society with aim to commit them to climate action and more sustainable behavior. So the European Green Deal includes not only the hard measures, but also soft measures in order to facilitate and enhance development of renewable and energy efficient measures in energy sector. Those establishing platforms, those soft powers and soft measures, such as establishing platforms for awareness raising about climate change and sustainable energy solutions, will have a positive impact on availability, affordability, and sustainability because it changes the behavior, which increases the savings and energy efficiency enhancement. So my colleague Natalia will continue from this slides, and please, Natalia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Georgi. Maybe I can share my presentation because it will be easier for me to.
Okay, then I'll. Just make it in PowerPoint. Yeah, good.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I will continue with the renovation wave strategy, which is another domain of Green Deal. The main aim of this renovation wave strategy is basically the renovation of buildings and improving energy performance of buildings. And by this, it will cut emissions, it will reduce energy consumption, so it supports the energy efficiency overall goal. In relation to energy security, this initiative is also very important because from one hand side, it will help to reduce dependency on fossil fuels. From another hand side, it also implies integration of renewables into the buildings. So use of micro generators like solar, for example, PV station as an additional use of energy, which is also improves not only energy performance of building, but also improves the use of domestic renewable energy. As for the key domains of the energy security, so this renovation wave strategy has positive impact on the availability, because basically when we save energy in the building sector, it makes it available for the other sectors. And also because of the use of renewables, we increase the use of domestic resources. Also, it has a positive impact on affordability, because at the end, when you spend less, your expenditures also will be lower. So in case of living in, for example, insulated house, it means that you spend less energy and your energy bills are lower than usual. And also sustainability, of course, it has positive effect on the sustainability, again, because of the energy efficiency behavior and because of the use of renewable energy. Does the slides changing now? Yeah, okay. So the next one is European Battery Alliance, which is basically aims at supporting the development of the battery market. In the EU, it includes both research, innovation in this field, as well as development of the existing technology, a spread of these technologies as well. And for the energy security, of course, this means more efficient and effective integration of renewables into the grid, ability to store and save the energy. Also, it implies more possibilities for the sustainable transport, because again, electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles use batteries for the energy storage. In case of energy security implications for Georgia, in case we are part of this initiative and the batteries are successfully introduced into our market, then it means positive effect on availability of resources, because it will help to integrate more renewables and more effectively use those renewables. Also, it will support integration, more higher pace of penetration rate of the sustainable transport. Also, accessibility, it will have positive effect on the accessibility, because it will make more easier integration of renewable sources in those locations where there is no feasible to connect these locations to the grid, to the electricity grid, for example, to the remote high mountain villages, etc. So for them, it will be even more, the renewable energy will be even more efficient. For reliability and quality, again, this has a positive effect, because the system will be more reliable with the use of the batteries, as well as the system will be more flexible. And again, this is a positive effect for the sustainability, because we are using clean energy, we are increasing the use of domestic clean energy. The next one is the EU strategy on offshore renewable energy, which means basically to support the development of the offshore renewables. Mainly, this is offshore solar and offshore wind energy. And the EU has clear targets for this. It says that from the current level, it aims to increase the capacity of offshore renewable to at least 60 gigawatts by 2030 and 300 gigawatts by 2050. At this moment in Georgia, we don't have offshore renewables, and we don't even have any specific targets or plans to develop it. However, maybe at some point it will be interesting to study whether this option is feasible technically and economically for Georgia, and what is the possibilities of using this option for Georgia as well. But in case this, but in general, this offshore renewables has very positive effects on energy security, because first of all, it increases availability as additional renewable energy is added to the energy system. Also, it increases sustainability, because this is a clean energy and this is domestic energy. So in our case now, there is no high implication, because at this moment we don't have even plans for development of offshore wind and solar, but in general, this could bring quite high benefits for the energies from the energy security perspective. Energy system integration is one of the next domains of the Green Deal, and it implies basically to see the energy system as a whole. And one of the examples of this energy system integration is basically NECP, which has several domains that are interconnected with each other. And energy system integrated implies more circular economy, implies greater direct electrification and use of renewables, where especially in those places where direct heating or electrification is not feasible. So in those remote areas when this is problematic. As for the positive impact on the energy security, from the energy security perspective, first of all, this means more availability of energy, because again, we are saving energy from the one hand side and also increasing the use of renewables. It also has positive effect on the accessibility, especially if we talk about the remote areas when there is no feasibility or when there is a lack of traditional energy resources and when we can introduce the renewable energy instead. Also, it has a positive impact on the sustainability, because more clean energy and less use of fossil fuels. Hydrogen strategy is another one, which basically is one of the key directions now in the EU, both in terms of research and innovation, and also in terms of other policies. So a lot of attention is being paid to the clean green hydrogen. The general aim is to develop green hydrogen produced using mainly wind and solar energy, and it has the EU has specific goals, specific targets. For example, it sets gradual targets. From 2020 to 2024, EU will support installation of at least 6 gigawatts of renewable hydrogen electrolyzers in the EU, and the production of up to 1 million tons of renewable hydrogen. From 25 to 2030, this will be increased to at least 40 gigawatts and production of up to 10 million tons respectively. And from 2030 to 2050, it will be increased even more. So for the energy security, of course, this means more availability of energy, because this is additional alternative energy source. It means a positive impact on the reliability, quality of the system, and also on flexibility of the system, and also, of course, on sustainability, because we are speaking specifically about the clean hydrogen, which is produced from the renewable energy sources. Clean Energy for All Europeans package includes a set of EU directives. That's why this is a kind of package that covers energy performance in buildings, renewable energy, energy efficiency, governance regulation, electricity regulations, including on the internal market for electricity, electricity directive, risk preparedness, and the European Union agencies for the cooperation of energy regulators. In this regard, part of these directives are already being introduced in the Georgia, and for some of them, at least regulatory and legal framework is almost ready. And also, as a part of governance regulations, Georgia is drafting an NECP document. And for the energy security, it will bring positive benefits, because first of all, high positive benefit for availability, because again, increased use of efficiency in all different sectors, including buildings, increased use of renewables. It will improve accessibility, because here again, we are speaking about electrification and tackling energy poverty. Reliability and quality, affordability, flexibility, sustainability, all will have on all of this, the clean energy package will have positive impact. And affordability, because improve competition, open market will increase the quality and will make the prices also competitive for the energy. And also as part of the protection for vulnerable customers, it means that the government should develop a mechanism to support these customers. It means that for these customers, this energy will be affordable, should be affordable. And from the sustainability point of view, use of energy efficiency and renewable energy, again, this brings benefits for sustainability. Another domain of Green Deal is sustainable and smart mobility strategy, which includes support to development of smart and efficient vehicles, also like sustainable use of public transport. It means that more people use public transport and less traffic on the roads. Also alternative transport solutions such as bicycles or electric scooters or other alternative means of transport. This brings positive benefits for the energy security. However, it depends, as Georgi mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, it depends on what will be the situation in case of the strategy implementation, because from one hand side, efficient vehicles means less consumption of fossil fuels. And in this case, we are now talking about oil products, this gasoline, diesel, etc., which in our case is quite diversified. We are importing it from different sources. Our country is importing from different sources. On another hand side, if there is a high penetration of electric vehicles, it means another additional consumer, large consumer to the electrical grid in terms of electric vehicles, and it will reduce the availability of the electricity. But again, it depends. In spite of the fact that the government is putting a lot of efforts in support of increased use of electric vehicles, still, according to official statistics, the share of electric vehicles in total vehicles stock is quite low, in spite of all this effort. That's why the probabilities that the penetration rate will increase very fast, and we will have a lot of electric vehicles that will create a real risks for the availability of electricity is very, very low. So again, this depends on what kind of split we will have at the end, how much electric and efficient vehicles we will have in the total vehicle split. As for the rest, the smart and sustainable and smart mobility strategy has positive effect on sustainability, because in any case, this will cut emissions, both by using electric vehicles and by using efficient vehicles. And it also have very negligible small effect on affordability and flexibility of the system, because theoretically, if we have high portion of electric vehicles, by differentiating the prices for electric vehicles charging stations, we can a little bit smooth the load curve. So we can motivate people, for example, to charge their vehicles in the night and not charge the vehicles during the peak hours. But this is only in case if we have a high share of the electrical vehicles. Circular Economy Action Plan is quite an important domain of energy of Green Deal, because it has many implications and many positive effects on not only on the energy security, but on the economic development and on the energy sector as a whole. Specifically, the Circular Economy Plan implies improving product durability, reusability, and recycling, and using the energy more efficient and resources more efficient. Also, it implies promotion of uptake of green technologies, especially in production sector, using of modern efficient technologies and clean technologies. Also, it implies on recycled content and measures to improve the collection and recycling rates for all batteries, including the transfer, because when we speak about the batteries, when we mention the benefits of using batteries, we also should mention another side of using the batteries, it's recycling, because this, in case of not proper recycling practice, this may create a danger for the environment. So in order to avoid this negative effect, we also need to take care that the batteries are recycled properly and disposed properly.
Natalia, we are short in time, so it's better to continue, and then during the discussion we can go in more in depth.
So this has positive effect on availability, because we are supporting energy efficiency in industry and resource efficiency. Also, it supports the sustainability, because more clean technologies, recycling, and proper waste management is also having positive impact on sustainability. And new industrial strategy is quite correlated with a circular economy, but here we speak specifically about the industry to support the research and innovation, to support the clean and affordable energy and raw materials, and to address the sustainability of construction products and improve the energy efficiency and environmental performance of building assets. Therefore, the introduction of these new industrial strategies has strong implications for the energy security, from the point of view that it will improve availability because of using renewable energies, and energy efficiency in the industry, and resource efficiency, which is also very important. Also, it has a positive impact on sustainability from the point of view that, again, proper waste management practices, resource efficiency and energy efficiency in the industry sector. However, industry sector is not the key, I would say, key sector in the Georgian economy. So we don't have many energy intensive industries, just a few. So for Georgia is not as critical as, for example, for the EU. Pact for Skill, this is another one which is very important, because if we want to introduce new technologies, modern technologies, we need to have qualified personnel, qualified people who will support not only introduction but also exploitation of these technologies. And here, of course, improved quality of personnel, increased number of qualified personnel will have positive impact on availability, because we will have more possibilities to introduce new technologies to the market, and also it will have a more implication for the reliability of quality, because qualified engineers will support operation of the energy grids, and for the sustainability it has also positive impact, because introduction of new technologies, clean technologies, in its turn has impact on the sustainability. The next one is Zero Pollution Action Plan, and which basically implies the reduction of pollutions, reduction of different pollutants in the air, water, land, etc. And here we see an example when, in most of the cases, the goals of environmental protection and climate change mitigations are very similar with energy security, and it has positive impact. But sometimes we need to keep the balance, because in some cases, when there is, for example, a very ambitious emission reduction target or emission cap, it may create challenges for the energy system, how to deal with this reduction and how to achieve this reduction, and how much it will cost to the system. So in some cases, for the environability, it can have negative impact, because it may ask you to reduce the consumption of fossil fuels, which for some extent you still need to have in the system. So it depends on the restrictions, but in some cases, when the goals and targets are too ambitious, it may put a lot of challenges to the system, how to adapt to this target and how to keep this target, and at the same time assure development of the economy and energy system. Stop deforestation, innovative sustainable waste management, and make soil healthy. This is another very important domain, especially for Georgia, because as we know, in the rural areas, still, in spite of the gasification program, many people still use wood for heating, and unfortunately, very often not sustainably, they use it not sustainably. In case of this specific domain implies to reduce deforestation, to tackle deforestation, to use sustainably forest resources, to have innovative sustainable waste management, which all will have a positive impact on the availability, because in case of sustainable use of wood resources, in case of fighting with the deforestation and supporting the regeneration of forests, it will improve the availability of these resources population. Also, it will have positive impact for the accessibility, especially in those regions that have already problems and deficit of this resource. And also it will have positive impact on the sustainability, because forests are a key factor for the sustainability. At the same time, sustainable management is also very important from the sustainability point of view. So that was all key domains, and we'll be happy to answer questions.
And just if anyone have a quick question before our partner colleague Veronika will start its presentation, please ask, because at the end we will have a time for discussion as well. If no, our colleague Veronika can continue with her presentation. Natalia, please stop sharing your screen, and Veronika, it's really good to see you again. Veronika, our partners from Slovak Foreign Policy Association, and Veronika will provide the presentation on the impact of the energy security Slovakia of the Green Deal objectives.
Great,
Please.
thank you very much, Natalia, Georgi. It was excellent presentation, and I really encourage you to publish it also to see in the EU that it's very great impact. I would follow up similarly to the last presentation of a Fit for 55 package, as it is something very tangible now, and really important for post-communist countries in Central and Eastern Europe. So let me share my presentation. One moment, please. Yes, duplicity. Okay. Can you see the full screen?
No, we can't see the full screen, just in a...
Okay.
You might choose another screen, I think, for...
Okay, so I will
Stop
open
sharing
it.
And then again.
I would maybe open in PDF format, because I have...
No, you just need to push the slideshow on your PowerPoint program, and that's okay.
Yes, I do have it, but I have a new computer with little window, and it's
on the bottom of the screen. Just push the slideshow. No, on the bottom. On the bottom.
Oh, here.
No, not above.
Oh, sorry.
In percentages at the end of the screen, you can see the percentages of the screen, so you can put nearby.
Where is plus and minus? Next to the minus, there is presentation button. On the bottom of your screen, where is
on the right hand side, and below.
Yeah, and next to it.
Then, yeah, this one.
Yeah, push that button.
Yes, can you see it now?
So you're using two screens, as I guess.
Yeah.
That's why you
okay, I will put it in PDF. Sorry for this confusion.
No, don't worry about that.
I have it also in PDF format, so I will open it. Okay. Okay, so sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
I can, it's not very nice, but I will send you the presentation then. So let's go to the impact. I would follow up on your presentation and the principles of energy security that you have mentioned and selected for Georgia. I think that these are really good indicator to start with. So the logic of for 55 package as the most important policy that actually has been already introduced with very, very specific targets, is in its logic increasing energy security. And due to these reasons, it increases the share of renewables, energy efficiency, while also decreases energy consumption by decarbonization measures. However, there are two question marks: availability due to intermittent energy sources, solar and wind, and also critical minerals that we know that we have to recycle, and opting for a circular economy approach, but it's getting not very fast. In my presentation, I will focus on the aspect of affordability, as this is in Central and Eastern European countries at stake because of high price of fossil fuels. This is the table I presented to you also on the last session. Just to remind, first, I would like to look at the revision of the Renewable Energy Directive in Slovakia. So Slovakia is in its National Energy and Climate Plan, these are these yellow marks, aiming for 19.2% of renewables share. Recommendation of the Commission is 24, and Fit for 55 would mean 32%, which is quite a big difference of 13% between what we are wanting to do and between Fit for 55 package. There are several challenges related to this increase. The Ministry of Economy, together with Ministry of Environment, calculated the potential to reach recommended share before Fit for 55 package, 23-24%, with additional investments of 300 to 600 million euro. However, there is still no assessment on the transmission system, as these require stable and flexible sources. It has also become a very good excuse, I would say, that we cannot have higher share of renewables because we have nuclear energy. But without this assessment, this nuclear energy argument cannot be always an excuse. Within biomass and hydro, these are great and stable, flexible sources, but we already are at peak, and their further exploitation would really lead into conflict with environmental protection. So it is something inherited from even communist times and even 90s when we built many hydroelectric stations, and now it is problematic because of environmental protection. Where is the potential? In electricity is in solar, wind, and geothermal, and in heating is geothermal, biogas, and heat pumps. If we can see the further potential, I borrowed the table from the Ministry of Economy, and as we can see, they calculated further potential that should be above 2030 target that is defined in National Energy and Climate Plan. So it is solar, wind, and also geothermal. They did not calculate biogas, hydro, and biomass as a potential for further increase. The biggest potential compared to the first value is the wind energy. Also, in heating sector, geothermal, biogas, and heat pumps are defined as something that we can raise compared to the 2030 targets defined in National and Climate Plan. So we can expect that these higher values will be also included in the next year revision of the plan. The ministry also calculated the additional support to raise this target, because it won't be for free, of course. And when we see the fourth line, the total investment in million euro, wind electricity in absolute terms would be at the first place. But when we look at the bottom line, where is the ratio of state investment in million euro to kilotons of oil equivalent, we can see that wind together with solar energy are the sources that is worth on to support in future. As I have already mentioned, we do not have wind turbines, just 5 of them in Slovakia, so there is definitely potential, and also in solar energy. Geothermal is the source that requires quite massive state investment, but we can use it in both electricity and heating. It's very unexplored source. What is a next point in the Fit for 55 package is the ETS in Slovakia. It's usually the debate of transport and building sector. Transport in Slovakia is responsible for almost 70% of all the emissions, and heating for more than 11. So there are several arguments supporting the ETS extension, and I would maybe start with them because it is a crucial tool in decarbonization and meeting the 2030 climate and energy goals. The first and important is it prevents rebound effects. Another one that it is a tool that really addresses both operating and also capital expenditures, which is an important signal to the market. It definitely supports the low carbon solutions and also sends a long-term signal to investors. And in these times of inflation and market stability, or market instability, also when we look at the market of fossil fuels, it is important to send a long-term signal. Of course, from the logic of the proposal, it is a driver to phase out fossil-intensive technologies, and also it helps to level the playing field across the sectors. Also, we can expect that it will generate revenues that will support the further transition. However, it is not very cheap, and there are several institutes that have calculated additional costs of introducing ETS on buildings and transport in Central and Eastern Europe. If you are interested, then I can send you these studies. They are all in English, and we can see very different numbers. Although within the proposal is that costs should not be borne by final consumers, but by the providers. The reality, of course, it's different, and we can expect definitely higher prices. All these analyses also add that this change should be complemented also by other policies in order to compensate to poor households. So if it really depends on the carbon price. Agora Energy calculates with 50 euro of ton CO2, but Polish Economic Institute, together with Cambridge Economics, they calculate with 170 euros. So it's really difference, and the costs are several hundreds euro per year in a increase. Just to make an example of the volatility of the carbon permits currently, yesterday when I was taking this picture, we were at 78 euro. So it's really, we can see that through the last 5 years, the carbon permits and the carbon price has really been growing, and it's very hard to predict how it will be in future. When we look at the Slovak households, we can see that natural gas, it's the large blue square, it's in more than 2/3 of all the households, and there are also households that use black and brown coal. It's the yellow one. Even though the percentage is relatively low, we are talking about 34,000 households approximately, which is not a low number. Then there are also, of course, people who do not want to admit what they really burn, because it's very, very difficult to make such accurate statistics, and you have to adjust these numbers a bit. A relatively high number is using wood and briquettes, but also what you have mentioned in your presentation, the burning of wood is very unfortunate in Slovakia, and it is a great problem, bringing the air pollution. So when we look at the projections after ETS extension, the Ministry of Environment calculated this rise, and they were inspired by the system that it is already in Germany. And they started at 35 euro of a carbon price, then the medium scenario of 55 and 75, and we can see that people who are using black coal will really experience the rise in prices. In case of natural gas, in absolute numbers of eurocent for a cubic meter is not that much, but in a percentage compared to 2021, it could rise from 50% to 32% of energy bills. So that's really a lot. Also, in transport sector, as I showed you in the last presentation, there is a very small amount of electromobiles, so people are using gasoline and diesel, especially, and the costs will be higher in case of gasoline, up to 12%, in case of diesel up to 15%. So it will be really challenging for poor households. What is the problem with this extension is that it will really have a social and distributional impact that will be a regional uneven. That means people in Bratislava, in the capital town, will be less affected than people in rural areas. That is especially these areas, Prešov, Košice, Banská Bystrica. The two regions are on the east, one on the southeast, where is lower income and also higher unemployment. You can see the dark color of the unemployment, so the darker the color, the higher unemployment. And also the problem is that the rail infrastructure is poorly developed in these regions, so it's another challenge. So what can we do, and what policies should be introduced? We do have already a partially ETS system on buildings, because many households in Slovakia use district heating system. It is about 50%. But when we are talking to about other households, usually that they use coal or gas, they will experience price increase. So the first policy is switch to biomass. but it is the problem of air quality. The Ministry of Environment calculated around 1,500 premature deaths due to poor air quality, so this is not an option for everyone. Then it's switching coal to gas. It's for more than, as I already told it, 1,300 households, which could be an options. And then to install solar panels and heat pumps. However, heat pumps should be or very supported, or it's problematic, and medium income households could afford them, because it is estimated that it is 15 years of investment return and around 15 years also of life cycle of heat pumps. So it's really not for the poorest households. And of course, there is renovation. We already received 70% of energy decrease in case of houses and 43% in case of apartments. But when we look at the bottom line, only 31% of houses and 56% of apartment buildings were insulated and renovated properly. That means that they have insulation, windows, and many of them also roofs. So there is potential for further improvement. When we see transport sector, as I said, we should focus on regional differences and look at two factors. The one is all the cars. You can see it on the left map. The darker the color, the higher age of the cars is. And the second map on the right side is the railway infrastructure. The green one is that you have two rails, and in the black lines, you have only one rail track. So it's very, very underdeveloped infrastructure. So we have to focus on these regions in order to decrease the impact of the prices. Another policy is the electrification of public transport in cities. Usually these are trams and trolleys, and introducing electric buses in the villages, between villages. Currently, they're only in 3 big cities of Bratislava, Košice, and Žilina, but only in the other poorer regions. It was calculated by the Ministry of Transport that it is more efficient. I would be very, very brief in the revision of Energy Efficiency Directive and also Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, because as you said, you are not that industrial, not that relied on industry as Slovakia is. But within the revision of energy efficiency, we would have a problem, because we already saved we already reached very nice target in the period of between 2040 and 2020. We overreached the target by 12%, and it is mainly because of insulation of apartment houses and savings in industry. Additional decrease according to Fit for 55 package is more than 20% compared to National Energy and Climate Plan, which is a lot. And according to Ministry of Economy, only about 9% of additional decrease is feasible. But there are also risks. The one is the increase of individual transport, and another one are new industries. Although the energy audits have calculated that the potential of saving in industry is about 3 terawatt-hours, just the transformation of the large steel producer would mean additional terawatt-hours of increase. Also, transformation of automotive industry towards low carbon would need additional 2 terawatt-hours for batteries production. that means that it is very questionable how it will be in the future. Maybe I could, I'm looking at time, maybe I could skip the carbon border adjustment mechanism. I would like to say that according to the calculations of the Ministry of Environment, it should be positive for the EU countries, for Slovakia, especially in case of steel production, with positive impact on GDP, income increase, and also, but the problem is that this is calculated without other countries introducing their tariff policies. So it's really questionable how the carbon border adjustment mechanism will evolve. And the last point is the financing. The post-communist countries of Central and Eastern Europe are really relying on the EU funds. And also now there is Just Transition Fund, Development Fund, Next Generation, which was introduced during COVID, and also this Social and Climate Fund that will try to decrease impacts of ETS extension on buildings and transport. And the countries usually do not have plans what will be next, or how to attract private investments, and that is the huge problem. And I think that we can rather inspire in Western European countries in this, because they are more able to attract the investments. And talking about the investments, of course, the green transition is quite costly, but I would also like to remind that also gas infrastructure projects were costly, and they were also supported by the European Union projects of common interests. Up until 2018, it was the so-called golden era of gas infrastructure financing through the through projects of common interests. And we can see I borrowed these slides from our colleagues from Hungarian REC, and we can see the Baltic gas pipeline. It's the gray one. Then is the South gas, is the red one, and then East and West North-South corridor. North-South East gas corridor is also where V4 countries, including Slovakia, are. So we can see that massive investments were done also in the gas infrastructure. So it is not only supporting the green transition. There are also regional challenges, but I would skip to that. But as we see it in our region, the biggest challenge is the approach towards circular economy. Exactly what you have said. We have to recycle and really change the way how we use our sources. And the last also question maybe for you or to think is that we are in the new reality after 24th February with really need of remilitarization. European Union was in a quite peaceful period, and now all the security experts dealing with secure also outside energy security pay attention to this need of remilitarize and also to introduce heavy industry again. And it really is the question how it will be supplied, because hydrogen seems to be an option in peaceful times, but in war times, or I don't want to say war times, but in very challenging times, it's really really difficult. So I would stop here, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Veronika, for this very interesting presentation and findings you just provided and presented. It's really good that the European countries has already some calculations, estimates, and assessment of the impact of the future on energy security of the Green Deal and other ongoing processes. So you just provided very good data and evidence for our findings we have already mentioned in our presentation. So this is really good and synergize our work together. So if anyone have a question, just we can open for discussion and questions, and please you can raise your hand or just push and start talking if you have any questions, please.
May I, Georgi?
Yeah, of course, Omar, please.
Yes. Okay, thank you. This is Omar Tsereteli. I'm a Deputy Head of Energy Efficiency, Renewable Energy Policy and Sustainable Development Department of MUESID. So just before I get started, just thank you for your interesting presentations. So you really provided very comprehensive data, and so it was really reasonable for us even to think about them. So my question addresses with Veronika. So you have just mentioned on one of your slides the increased price of fossil fuel. So I would like to ask you, what are your expectations for the winter season, for instance? So do you in Slovakia, expect for the risks in terms of steadily increasing prices on fossil fuel by this period of time? Just what are your expectations in brief, if you could? Thank you.
It's very hard to say maybe in brief, but we are already experiencing since November or December last year the manipulating of gas prices, which from side of Putin and Gazprom, and it really makes very unstable market already, and that is why it's very strong. Because before the war there was not such strong support for Green Deal as it is now, because also more there is of course some part of people that are skeptics. They will be maybe always, but there were some group of undecided people that thought that fossil fuels are cheap, but they are not anymore. And all the European countries are doing everything not to depend on Russia this heating season. So there are long-term contracts with several countries, and also this is something that is very questionable for the future and for the future of energy security, who are our new allies, such as Azerbaijan, for example. We signed a lot of long-term contract with Azerbaijan yesterday or 2 days ago until 2027. So it will stabilize the prices for the seasons. They will grow maybe minimally compared to these prices, but it's really questionable what are we going to do next, because we can survive this heating season, and I would be quite confident that this heating season will be fine. Also, there are LNG terminals from America. There are countries building floating terminals. So it should, and some analysts in Slovakia expect the price increase of 10%, 12%. So it's not that bad, but it's hard to say what will be in next 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. Please, Omar, if you have additional questions, then I add.
No.
Okay. Then I'm interested, Veronika. What are the most important measures you're getting ready for this winter in energy, from energy security point of view? You are filling the gas storages. You're developing the LNG terminals and so on, but what are others which not only you but the Visegrad countries are also getting ready for this winter?
Unfortunately, yesterday there was an unfortunate message that the Hungarian Ministry of Foreign Affairs wants to go to Moscow to deal with Putin about import of Russian gas to Hungary. And it is really something bad that is undermining every principles that we have been talking since February 24. So yeah, Hungary is doing this, but let's hope that they won't meet. And but what are the doing countries? The building of floating terminals. It's the easiest and also very quick options. You cannot build full LNG terminals in less than 2-3 years. So floating terminals, storage capacities. They also want, some countries, they also want to exclude companies. Usually it's Gazprom, because the storage capacities in Austria are owned by Gazprom to large extent. So, sorry, it is my dog. And also the ministers and prime ministers are trying to book as much capacities as they can all across the world. And that is what I have said, that also to the countries that should not be our allies in long-term future.
Okay, thank you very much. Georgi has a question, raised his hand. Please, Georgi.
Thank you for very interesting insights shared. It goes to all three speakers. Let me kind of reword and address the same question, Georgi and Natalia, to you. How the energy policy is changing or should be changing in Georgia after this invasion of Russia in Ukraine, and what are the observations from your side? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just I'll start, Natalia, and you can continue at something. Thank you for this very interesting question, because after the war, we started in March studying what are the vulnerabilities for Georgia of this war in the short-term perspective, and we investigated what are the import dependence, the level of import dependence on Russia in electricity, in gas, and oil product sector. So it turns out that there is no critical dependence on Russia of Georgia on energy resources in electricity, in gas, and oil product sector. However, if we see the trend in the last 2 years, in 2020, 2021, it's an upward trend in importing of gas and oil products in Georgia. So I think it's the energy policy and policymakers in Georgia should analyze all the scenarios in the future, in the midterm perspective, to plan and adopt the relevant measures to mitigate and prevent some threats and risks from Russian side. So our main importer country is Azerbaijan, to which we have in gas sector and also electricity, because and we have, it's a strategic partner of Georgia, and we in energy policy, we, despite this strategic partnership, single dependence on the countries always includes some risks. So in energy policy of Georgia, which is drafted and developing now, we have in energy security chapter, we included the diversification measures in gas sector and also in electricity. In gas sector, we think to have these swap mechanisms to develop also not only the gas storage, but also the LNG regasification and liquefaction terminals in the country in the midterm perspective. So in the future, the capacity of the interconnection capacity cross-border with Azerbaijan is not still sufficient in wintertime if we see the last 2 years. So that's why increasing import from Russia is going up, and it needs some measures for the country to increase, not to make risks in the energy security from energy security point of view. So I can share in the chat our findings of the war and what are the key problems and risks in energy security for Georgia, and what can be the solutions and some measures in the short and mid-term perspectives for Georgia to increase its energy security. Yeah, I'll try to share on the chat the link. Natalie, if you want something to add, please.
Yeah, I would add that the importance of cybersecurity was always very important, and now I think it's even more important because there are always risks of these cyber threats, and we see many examples how it works in Ukraine, and we had examples in the past in our case as well. So together with digitalization, because all our electricity gas system becomes more and more modern and more reliable on the digital tools. Together with that, it's very important to have professionals who will work on the cybersecurity and have some kind of, I would say, risk assessments and some mitigations measures for these potential risks, because this becomes, together with this digitalization from one hand side, it may become more vulnerable to these cyber threats. And when we live in such a changing environment, it's very important to have secure systems in country.
Thanks, colleagues. Yeah, I would support that tense work has to be taken currently by the energy authorities in order to mitigate all those risks, although our dependence on Russia is not that high. And also the few minutes ago, Veronica mentioned about the agreement doubling actually Azerbaijani gas supply to EU, and I think this will also influence on the Georgian energy security in both directions, and this is very much depending on the decision made at the policy level among partner countries. So thanks, and I believe the energy authorities are making their best to mitigate all the risks.
Yeah. Thank you. I do hope, and in the chat I have already shared the link of the publication of the effects of the Russian-Ukraine war for Georgia's energy security in the short-term perspective. So if anyone have any question, please ask your questions. Just before anyone raise their hands and ask questions, I have just comment for Veronica's presentation. She mentioned that unemployment rate is increasing during this time, and Green Deal have this just transition mechanism which supports such cases in European countries, just to support them and enhance and to solve this energy poverty and all this stuff. So is energy just transition mechanism practical? How practically you use this mechanism in Slovakia?
Currently, it is used just for the coal regions, and we have just one coal region in Slovakia that is important. And we're really talking about a very, very small number of miners. It's just like 700 or 800 people. So it's very, and other people who are working there are working in supply chains and administration. So they can find other job easier. So it is not that much problematic as in Czech Republic or Poland, where there are millions of people connected to the coal regions and coal mining and processing. So currently we are using it just for the region transformation, and it should be really an example how can you transform a coal power plant to the renewable one. And there are many ideas brought and many projects. So it's among the pilot regions in the European Union. So it's really like a case study of how it would like. So it is used for that. But in order to also have support, we have to do our homework ourselves in Slovakia, and we haven't done it. We haven't still defined energy poverty. Who is eligible, under which conditions, and to what extent they could be supported. So this is something that without this definition, that who we are targeting to, we cannot really move. And this is something that really an ETS extension could help. It is quite paradoxical situation because it will be a price increase, but it really will push towards the carbonization. We can decrease energy consumption by 8%, decrease emission by the size of a small coal power plant. So it is something that it will be very unpopular, but we should find some mechanism of how to help these people. And still, also in other V4 countries, there is still no definition of energy poverty.
Okay, thank you for these insights. Please, if anyone have question, just ask. Then we go to the conclusion part after that. So if there is no questions in this part, I'll start the concluding remarks, and then Omar will conclude the key findings of our discussion in today's meeting. So as it shows, the European Green Deal is really a complex strategy which includes a wide range of measures, strategies, legislative initiatives, and so on, which will have a impact in different sectors, including energy security. So the post-socialist countries like Slovakia and Georgia, we have different energy systems. However, the impact have mostly the positive to our energy systems of the Green Deal objectives and those measures. However, it somehow introduces some challenges for our sector energy systems in terms of intermittency in developing high share, high target rate for the renewables in the short-term perspectives, which create somehow challenges for our systems, and so on and so on. But in overall, the Green Deal have a very positive and synergetic impact on energy security of the European countries, and also for Georgia as well. As I mentioned, the transposition of these new legislations and directives are not mandatory for Georgia yet. However, in the near future, it will be mandatory for us under the Energy Community Framework or Association Agreement framework for Georgia. And I do hope in the future will become a candidate status or even member in the midterm perspective of the European Union. And then we have those legally binding obligations to adopt. these are not the obligations. I think it's an opportunities for our countries. If we transpose in a smart way and develop the institutions according to these directives and regulations, it will significantly enhance and increase our energy security level. So I think in overall, those Green Deal will have a positive impact, not only the energy security, but also the economic development for our country. And the policymakers should start thinking already now how to transpose and how to develop those changes in the future according to the Green Deal objectives. So thank you everyone for attending till the end of this meeting, and please, Omar, provide your concluding remarks.
Yes, Georgi, thank you for sharing the floor with me. So I would like to once again thank you to our energy experts, Georgi, Natalie, and Veronica for their interesting and comprehensive presentations on the European Green Deal and energy security. So it should be noted that regarding development of energy security for Georgia, there is a lack of research in this field of energy security, as well as lack of comprehensive assessment of its state. Development of the direction of the energy security assessment, accounting for national sector related specificity, would allow the ministry and other national stakeholders to effectively monitor energy security developments and better plan policy responses to the potential risks and threats. And once again, thank you for this opportunity and for your studies and research and presentations in this regard. The ministry appreciates the effort of the stakeholders to be involved within this process. And personally, I think that the specialists of the field of energy security would have the detailed considerations and assumptions on these issues. In addition, also, please be assured that the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development will be proceeding its continuous support in organizing several consultations, workshops regarding the strengthening of the energy security tool, as well as to get even and provide even more recommendations in this regard. And it's also very highly appreciated and highly important for us. Besides that, I would also like to highlight that, as you are aware, one of the crucial challenges in the energy sector of Georgia is increased consumption, and you are all aware of these things. As a result of this, our country, with you, with the issue-related stakeholders, are in the process of implementing hydropower and encourage wind and solar projects. And achieving this could have ensured the energy security of our country. And Georgia has been distinguished not only in its contributions to negotiating the 2030 agenda, but also now it's in commitment to implementation. And also it's very important. Also, I would like to mention the topic of the targets of 2030. As you have already mentioned, Georgi, Natalia, and Veronica in your presentations. So regarding the targets for 2030, we, the ministry, have an updated information on that, which is the following: that Georgia, with the rest of the contracting parties of the energy community, have had a very productive negotiation with the European Commission in Vienna on informal ministerial council, and we, the Ministry of Economy, have agreed that in terms of renewable energy target, we will have 27.4% by 2030, taking into consideration that the electricity of temporarily occupied territory Abkhazia would be included as per the calculations coming from the NECP. And in terms of energy efficiency, for primary energy consumption, we have agreed to have 5.45 megaton. In terms of final energy consumption, 5.0 megatons. So there was one more dimension, greenhouse gas emission target. And in this regard, the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Agriculture has been represented on these talks and discussions in Vienna. And as per their negotiations with the energy community, they will have 47% of reduced emissions by 2030, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 47%, I remember so. So regarding this, so we are working harder in this regard. And I hope and believe that even today we have had and we will have in the future very productive cooperation, and the ministry will focus on comparative analysis of energy security institutional framework in Slovak Republic and Georgia also. Given recommendations as per our experience will be developed for setting up, improving the national energy security institutional framework in Georgia, and support the creation of sustainable development in this direction. So once again, I would like to express my special gratitude to the Research Center of Slovak Foreign Policy Association and Levan Mikeladze Foundation with his kind support of Slovak Aid and Frederick Ebert Foundation for implementing these significant projects, the talks and discussions for Georgia. So to make a long story short, I thank all the attendees for participation and looking forward to seeing the further development of ideas based on your study and experience. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Omar. So thank you once more for sharing those very interesting information regarding the targets set already by 2030 for Georgia. And I also join the thank you for Mikeladze Foundation, especially Eka and Tamta, giving us this opportunity to work on this very interesting topic. And thank you, Veronica and SFPA staff just involved in the process and fill and synergize our study. Thank you all. And please, Eka, if you want to say something.
I also would like to thank our experts, Veronica, Georgi, and Natalia, and definitely I would like to also thank our counterpart, the Minister of Economic and Sustainable Development, for the really effective cooperation, always being ready to support and cooperate. This is very important for us at this stage. So, and I will repeat once again that all of you are kindly invited to our closing event on 28th of July. And thank all of you for joining today's meeting. And also, I would like to inform you that all the papers that were produced by the project will be officially submitted to the Ministry for further reactions. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Goodbye. Have a nice day and weekend.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.